25 years ago, I wanted to build a black chopped coupe. I started with the Jimmy Flintstone resin body because I really like the extreme chop. But I always liked Jim Jacobs' coupe with the cut down truck grill. The curves on the grill complement the curves on the car body. I wanted to replicate that on my car. It was super important that the grill right out in front looked perfect. There was no photo etch or resin grill available 25 years ago, so I had to figure out how to make one for myself. 25 years later, I use that same technique on my Corvette C2 Custom. In this video, I'll show you that technique. I'm glad to be able to share my ideas with you through these videos. One of the things that makes this channel possible is the ongoing support of viewers who become patrons. As a thank you for their support, we have weekly posts from my bench where I briefly share progress on current projects. If you'd like to support the work we do here on Model Car Muse, check out our Patreon link in the description below. This is Bernie Guilbeault's Crown Victoria. It has horizontal tubes. Here is another example on the Buick Y Job by Harley J. Earl. The subjects of early Hot Rod magazine covers were often the classic track nose. I like studying these because these are the first iterations of that style. That grille style that blends with the shape of the body is what I'm using on my 36 Dodge Coupe. Here is the finished grille. The shape of the nose is pretty exaggerated. It has a compound curve that bulges way out. I didn't want to use photo etch because when bending it to this extreme shape, the bars in the photo etch would splay out more in the center than at their contact points, top and bottom. The technique I use ensures perfectly even spacing of the bars. I'm going to demonstrate using this 29 Roadster from the classic Revell kit with a scratch-built nose. The technique involves stacking pieces of aluminum sheet in a particular way. On the Corvette, the stack is held together with screws and fits behind the grille opening. For the track nose on this Roadster, once I have the pieces stacked, I can surround them with a collar as a keeper, then shape that to fit the body. Maybe fine-tune the shape of the body to fit the insert. For the collar, you can machine down or hand file a tube to the thickness you want, as I've done here. Or you can bend the strip of aluminum and glue the ends. I like seeing a very thin surround, so the grill bars are the most important part. Starting with a round collar, I want to make more of an oval shape, so I'm going to bend it. I think maybe I'll just pinch it a little more at the top. I think that's it. And because it's a very subtle difference, I'm going to mark the top with a T. I'm using K&S aluminum, that's the size. 2 blocks of aluminum. Okay. Just metal fatigue it by folding down. I think I need a few more. That looks wide enough. So this collar will fit over it right about there. So I have to carve down the edges of this aluminum so this slips right on, holds all the slats together. To keep them orderly, I'm going to drill holes in here and run bolts through it to keep them from sliding off each other. So right about there is where the first one will go. Second one probably back there. The bolt that's going to pass through all those sheets of aluminum is a number 348. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to make sure that I have the proper drill bit. It's going to be perfect. So if you don't have a drill press, you could use your Dremel or a hand drill to drill through. I'm putting the 2 bolts in that will hold the stack together while I shape the metal. The other 2 holes will come into play later. I made the entire piece this long for a really good reason. I have to carve away this area so this can slip on. This gives me an area out here that's a handle. I can grip it with my hand or attach it with clamps. It's going to make life a lot easier. So now the face is cleaned up, so I can draw my oval and decide how much to remove from the sides. This will give me a rough idea what I need to remove. almost. To make sure that you're conforming to the shape, you can look along the side and almost like a topographic map, the division between all the layers should match what's on both sides. So you can easily see if you're really getting a symmetrical shape. This is looking very good. It just needs a little trimming. Then once that slides on there easily, I can start to carve the curve. Slides on, just a little bit of pressure. I don't want too much. I want this to be pressure fit when it's done. I made a cardboard template, show the profile of the grill. I can line that up, carve that down, get the profile just the way I want. I always want to file in a direction that pushes all those layers into the center. If I'm on the far side and I file, I might catch one of those and bend it out. Not quite, but it's getting closer. This is the top end of the grill. And from an aerial view, as if I'm looking down, looking to make sure that my sides are cut evenly, they look level, looks really good. That's looking pretty good. I'm making long passes so I know I get a nice smooth curve, no divots, no bumps. But this really isn't the fine tuning. What I'm doing now is to get it shiny enough that I can see if there are any waves. I want to see just what the contour is. Looking at the reflection, I'm just looking at the lines. I want to make sure that the lines are the same side to side, top to bottom. I think it's perfect. And that is a good fit. This entire section will be cut off. That's the only part that we're going to use on the model in the end. What I'm about to do is what makes this technique work. It's the reason why the bars will be evenly spaced and perfectly parallel. Now I'm going to take this apart and step back every other piece just enough so they can't be seen from the front, so I can give the illusion of the grill bars and still have all these as spacers to keep things even. It's super important at this point to lay these down in the proper orientation and in the proper order. I'm staggering these so I can pre-visualize which ones will be grill bars and which ones will be recessed and in essence invisible. I have an even number of pieces here because that is the volume that fit in the collar. If you have an odd number, then you can choose that your middle piece is visible or not. That middle piece could be the one that's forward, creates a center bar. And the two on the ends would match whether they're both in or both out. The stagger of my two end pieces doesn't match because I have an even number. One's in, one's out. So I'm going to start stacking, and I'll make that decision when I get to the end, whether we keep that piece or not. This is what the second set of holes is for. We have these two holes very close together. Because this one's set back, I'll put the screw in this hole. The next one, because it's forward, will go in the back hole. I'm going to put the nut on for safety so this whole stack doesn't come loose by accident. Now, they're a little off top and bottom. Once I get the back screw in to help line things up, and when the collar goes on, those will all fall in place and fit snugly in the collar. I don't want it too super tight because I don't want to have the metal bend. Now it's time to test the collar. It slips right on. With the collar hand tight, I'm going to tap it down so it fits snugly, holding everything in place. Nice and snug. I decided to keep that last piece because it's barely noticeable. I'll file down the part of the collar that sticks out so it's flush with the grill bars. Now I'm going to fine tune that with sandpaper and then I'll polish it all smooth. Now I'll do a little polishing to the aluminum. I use my old polishing pads for metalwork. Doesn't take much to make it look nice and bright. It's because there's one bar that doesn't quite touch there. I'm not going to cut the grill assembly off from the handle yet. I like this. I can still hold it in position. It's going to help me align it when I put it in the body. But the nut's in the way, so I have to take that off so I can fit it in there. Then I'll cut a hole in the body, fit it in position. I remove the nut from the assembly so it'll fit better. I cut a rough opening in the front of the body. I can test fit it just enough so it holds itself in place. To make sure the grill bars are vertical, I have it in place, check it with a square, and then I'll lightly glue everything in position and add some 2-part epoxy to fill in the gap around the grill. This looks so good in there, I can't wait to get paint and primer on the car. Follow your muse wherever you may find it, and may there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.